GG everybody, and welcome to another episode of GGRC. I'm ArrrCee, and today we are talking about the games that I wanted to play in 2017, and in parentheses, I didn't quite get to because I didn't have time or I didn't have the money, at the time to buy it. Whatever the reasoning is, these are the games I didn't get to in 2017 and actually want to play. Now, just like my honorable mentions video that came out, these are not actually ranked in any way. There are 10 games, but they're not ranked in any kind of number fashion, so please, these are just thrown on here. Don't think that they're rated in, game I most want to play or anything like that. These are games that I've just heard a lot of praise for, heard a lot about, and they're something that I'm pretty interested in checking out, so hopefully I'll get to them soon. But without further ado, let's jump right into the list. Okay, so this list is going to be a bit more laid back than my Game of the Year video and my honorable mentions video, because I'm just going to kind of speak, off the top of my head here and tell you about why I didn't get to these games, and why I want to play them. So I'm going to do them in alphabetical order here, starting with Divinity Original Sin 2. Now, when I first saw that this was coming out, I didn't really think anything of it. I wasn't sure what to expect. I know the Divinity series myself. I know that they've made the company behind it has made some really cool games in the Divinity series, but I wasn't really thinking about this game when it actually released. Come to find out, it's supposed to be a really cool RPG. And there's supposed to be a really deep and rich story, lots to do, pretty cool combat. And it's a game that I'm really wanting to get into and play in the future. But the main reason I didn't play it was mostly because I wasn't sure if it was a game that I would like, and also because I heard that it's a super duper long game. I've already got a couple RPGs that I still haven't gotten to that came out this year that I am playing. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 comes to mind. It's a game that I am enjoying, but I'm still not very far into it. I need to get back to it. So I probably still have another 50 hours of that game to play, if not more. So starting another RPG that I know is super long just wasn't super appealing during the year. So it's just a game that I kind of ignored and didn't pay any attention to because I'm like, yeah, I just don't have the time for it. The next game on the list I don't really have a great excuse for. It's called Everything. Now, my main excuse for Everything and not getting a chance to playing it is just kind of forgetting about it. I remember it coming out earlier in the year, and it looked really interesting, and it was always a game that was sort of in the back of my mind, something that I wanted to check out. But unfortunately, everything else during the year kind of got in the way of me playing Everything. But it's a game that I'm definitely looking forward to checking out, hopefully this year, because just the concept of it is so strange and weird and off the wall that it's definitely something I wish I would have played this year. The next game that I really wanted to play was Hollow Knight. Now, Hollow Knight sort of has the privileged spot of being the one Metroidvania game that I did not play this year. I played Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS, thought it was okay. I know a lot of people are going crazy for that game, and I think it's good, but I don't think it's the best Metroid game or anything. And SteamWorld Dig 2, which I absolutely adore. But, Hollow Knight I saw was like another Metroidvania game, and I saw some things about it that, were a little discouraging. A lot of people saying it's a pretty long-ass game, and some people saying that it's a lot harder than they were expecting too. And it just felt like one of those years where a lot of companies were releasing games that looked cute and fun, but ended up being a lot more challenging than they really made them out to be. Cuphead comes to mind immediately. A game that just has this amazing look to it, and everybody wants to play it because of that, but it ends up being a game that's way harder than you're expecting, and at the time of its release, it just wasn't something I wanted to get into, and it's another game that as the year went on, I kind of forgot about because of that. So it's definitely a game I want to play, though. I do love the Metroidvania, the 2D platforming adventure games. I do love those. There's just only so many of them I can play in a year, so Hollow Knight, unfortunately, is going to slip into hopefully this year or possibly the future. The next game I really wanted to play is basically just because I don't have a PlayStation 4. It is Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, this was a game that everybody was going wild for. And I believe it came out a few weeks, if not a month, before Breath of the Wild came out. And Breath of the Wild was the game I was going to play no matter what. That game looked amazing. I knew I was going to like it. And turns out, yeah, I liked it quite a bit. Now, Horizon Zero Dawn seemed to be the Zelda they were trying to release on the PS4. But unfortunately, I don't have a PlayStation 4. And I don't know if I'll ever end up getting one. I have enough games to play on my PC and my Switch and my 3DS. Between all of those, I don't know that I would have time for more games on a PS4, unfortunately. But it's definitely a game that was on my list of games I really want to check out and really want to play. But unfortunately, I don't know if I'll ever get to it. I hope someday, maybe I'll get a cheap PS4 or maybe a PS5 in the future when those come out and it'll be backwards compatible. I don't know, but I hope that at some point in the future, someday in my life, I'll get a chance to check this game out because it looks really, really cool. The next game on the list is NieR Automata, or is it Automata? I don't know. But regardless, this is a game that I just completely passed up because of the art style of it and the anime look and everything. It just didn't do anything for me when I first saw it. But come the end of the year, I saw it just jumping on a lot of people's top 10 lists, and I was like, is there more to this game than meets the eye? I'm not really sure. So with this game, this became more of a almost a voyeurism thing where I was like, I kind of just want to see if I would enjoy playing this game because so many people are saying that, there's an amazing twist in the story as you play it, and the game, was actually better than they were expecting, but I don't know. I'm still not sure really how to feel about it. So, again, it's one of those games, I don't know, maybe I'll wait a while until it's like, $10, $20, I don't know, something like that, and then I'll give it a shot, but we'll see. But I'm definitely interested in checking out to see what I think of it. The next game on my list is Night in the Woods. Now, Night in the Woods is a game I heard a lot about from different people over the year. A lot of people posting on Twitter about how much they liked it. A lot of people just talking about it on podcasts and whatnot. To be honest, it's a game that I saw and I really wasn't sure what to make of it. It kind of had like a decent little art style. It's kind of got what I call like the local hipster comic book art style. It's you get one of those graphic novels that isn't about superheroes, but it's about oh, check it out, it features animals, but it's actually about real life. It's one of those things, and I really wasn't sure what to make of it. Which is why I never ended up checking it out. But I've heard really, really good things about it over the year, and I've added it to the list because it seems like a pretty simple playthrough with a pretty effective story that has, really gotten into certain people's psyche, and certain people have really gone to bat for it this year. So it's a game that may be more than what I thought it was, and I'm willing to give this game the chance that it deserves, hopefully. The next game on the list is Observer. Now, Observer is one of those mysterious games that I still don't know a whole lot about. What I do know of it sounds amazing. It's a sci-fi game where apparently you can, kind of, I guess, put yourself in other people's heads and their memories and everything, and I guess you solve the levels and solve the things that you're trying to do with other people by sort of invading their headspace. That's really all I know about it. I really like the look of it too. I think it's a really pretty looking game. But based on those things, it's a game that I really, really want to check out. But again, it was one of those that released in the fall when all the games started sort of releasing at the same time. And it just kind of went to the back burner of games that I was looking at because there's so many other things to play, unfortunately. So, hey, guys, it happens every year, right? There's a million games that come out. You can only pick a couple to play. I feel even more sorry for those of you out there who, have other responsibilities in your lives. You're not able to probably play as much as somebody who doesn't have kids or doesn't have to work a full-time job, whatever is going on. But you just can't get to everything, and unfortunately Observer fell to the wayside because of that. So the next game that I have on the list is Pyra. Now, Pyra seems like a game that a lot of people are into. It's by Supergiant Games, and Supergiant Games really put themselves on the map a few years ago with the release of Bastion. Bastion, I really, really liked. I love the storytelling aspect of it. I love the art style. It was just a beautiful, cool, fun to play game, and it wasn't very long. It was like a game that I could get into and play, fairly quickly over the span of a few days, and I just really liked it. It was fun. It was good. It was just a nice game. But then they came out with a game called Transistor a few years later, and this game did almost nothing for me at all. I played a few hours of it, and it just never really caught me at all. I don't know why, but the combat wasn't doing much for me, and the art style is very similar to Bastion, but so different enough that I wasn't really feeling it. So I don't know. There's something about that game, the culmination of it, just didn't do much. But Pyra seems to be a return to form, I guess, for Supergiant. Not that Transistor was awful or anything, but Pyra, I guess, from what I've been hearing from a lot of people, it kind of returns to more of the gameplay aspect as opposed to the story aspect of it. There's supposed to be a really cool game that Pyra is based on. If you take a look at the logo, there's kind of a ball that surrounds the logo. So I guess there's some kind of ball game that you're actually playing in it. So it's like, it's almost part, basketball and part RPG, and it sounds super interesting, so I'm very much looking forward to get into it. One of the reasons I didn't immediately jump onto it, though, was because of Transistor. Now, Transistor, again, as I mentioned, just didn't grab me, and when Pyra was coming out, it was a game that I thought looked really pretty, sounded interesting, but I'm kind of like, yeah, based on Transistor, if it's anything like that, I don't know if I want to play it. But now it's moved to my want-to-play list based on what everyone has said about it, so that's where it's going to be. Now the next game on the list is Tekken 7. Now, Tekken is a series that I have a very strange relationship with because I used to play Tekken a little bit over friends' houses back in the day, because they were the ones who had the PlayStations. I feel like when I was growing up, I was the only friend in my group of friends who owned a Nintendo 64. Everybody else had a PlayStation. So they all had Tekken, and they all had Crash Bandicoot, and they had the Final Fantasy games. And I always had Mario and Zelda. Those were great, and a few other third-party games. Blast Corps was pretty great. But Tekken was one of those series that, was never on a Nintendo system, unfortunately. So I didn't get a whole lot of time with it. Eventually, I did own a Tekken game. I think it was Tekken Tag Tournament on PlayStation 2. And I had fun with it. I thought it was a cool game. Definitely felt good. It was a much different feeling fighting game compared to what I'm used to, but I liked it all the same. But Tekken 7 is now out, and it is on PC, and this is a game that I have been sort of eyeing all year. I feel like I probably would have purchased it in November had Injustice 2 not come out. Because Injustice 2, once that was announced on PC, I'm like, okay, this is the fighting game I'm going to play here, because I love the original Injustice. But Tekken 7 still looks amazing, it looks promising, and I really, really want to get into playing that game this year. Now, the last game of the 10 that I want to play from 2017 is a game that I really have no excuse for not playing, and that is What Remains of Edith Finch. This is supposed to be a really quick walking simulator puzzle style type of game. It's not supposed to be very long at all. I think it's like 3 hours or something like that. And I don't really have an excuse for not playing it. Short games like that you should be able to fit within a night, right? But I think the only reason that I had was the fact that the game cost $20, and I saw $20 for a 2 or 3 hour game, and I was like, that seems a bit much to me. I don't know. I'm sure, from what I hear from everybody, it has a really great story. It's a beautiful looking game. But that aside, it's still a 2 or 3 hour game, and a walking simulator with a great story you can really only experience once. And I'm kind of looking at it like, well, $20 for one walkthrough, I'm not sure. To me, it almost felt like, you're paying that $20 to go into a haunted house in Halloween, which is something I gave up a long time ago because I was like, wow, this really isn't worth the money. But from what I hear with What Remains of Edith Finch, it definitely was worth the money. But it's going to have to wait until at some point later this year, maybe Halloween, so that way I can maybe play it on the channel for you guys and you can get spooked for the Halloween season. But yeah, it's a game that I really should have played, but I think the price is what scared me away. Well, there you go, everybody. There's my top 10 list of games that I really wanted to play in 2017, but didn't quite get to. So I think the list really, you know, it speaks for itself. There's a lot of great games on here. I'm sure a lot of you have played some of these games. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of them, and if there's a game, you know, specifically in that list that you think I should be checking out first, let me know. I'd like to hear about it. Some of them I'm still not so sure how much I'm actually going to like it, you know, based on what people have said about it, and other games I just know I'm really going to enjoy, and I can't wait to get to them. But there you go, everybody. Don't forget that I have 2 other videos in addition to this one. I have my Game of the Year video, that is my top 10 games of 2017. And I also have an honorable mentions video, which is just like this one, where the games are not ranked, but there are 10 games that I played that I think you should really check out. But there you go, everybody. GG, and I'll see you all next time.